वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल सनी जावा वर्ल्ड। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल सॉरी चाहता हूँ क्योंकि मैंने अपने इंट्रोडक्शन वीडियो में ये बोला था कि आई एम गोना टेल यू इन हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज। बट मैं जब भी वीडियो का रिकॉर्डिंग करता हूँ वो कंटिन्यूअस मेरे से वो इंग्लिश होते ही जाता है, हिंदी आता ही नहीं है, पता नहीं क्यों। बट आई एम गोना ट्राई इन दिस वीडियो कि मैं इंग्लिश प्लस हिंदी दोनों मिक्स रखूंगा ताकि सारे लोग अच्छे से समझ सकते हैं। Okay, so let's get started. We will start from the our last question that we have discussed in the last video. So अगर आपने लास्ट वीडियो नहीं देखा है जिसमें मैंने डिस्कस किया है स्ट्रिंग से क्वेश्चंस और हाउ कैन यू मेक आवर कस्टम इम्यूटेबल क्लास, हाउ कैन यू मेक आवर कस्टम सिंगल्टन क्लास और कोर जावा के बेसिक क्वेश्चंस, बिकॉज वी नो दैट whenever we go for any interview, first of all they are going to start from the core java interview questions and answer. I'm trying to put all the questions that can be asked in any interview. You know that how I'm going to tell the answer. I'm going in details of any of the questions ताकि उस टॉपिक से अगर कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछा जाए तो आप आंसर दे सको, अगर कुछ दूसरा भी क्वेश्चन पूछा जाए तब भी आप आंसर कर सको। दैट्स व्हाई आई एम टेलिंग इन details. Okay, in my last video I have asked question to you that if suppose I am using a singleton in multi-threading environment, then what will happen? Is it the thread safe or not? So the answer is no, it is not a thread safe. We can't use a simple singleton class inside a multi-threading environment. Why? Why? Because if you will use simple singleton class inside multi-threading environment, multiple thread will try to access the factory method that I have taken in my example is get singleton instance. Okay, so multiple thread will call this method simultaneously at the same time. Then what will happen? So for every thread, it is going to return the new object. Means they breaks the singleton property. That's why to make use a singleton class inside a multi-threading environment, we have to make our class synchronized. What is mean by synchronization? To make a lock over an object so that multiple thread cannot access this at the same time. We can do synchronization using synchronized method or we can do by synchronized block. Because this is a singleton class, so इससे रिलेटेड एक क्वेश्चंस स्प्रिंग में पूछे जाते हैं जो कि मैं डिस्कस करूंगा व्हेन आई एम गोइंग टू टेल द स्प्रिंग इंटरव्यूज क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर। जैसे कि वो पूछ रहे हैं कि यू नो दैट हाउ मेनी टाइप ऑफ स्प्रिंग बीन स्कोप इज देयर। वी हैव सिंगलटन स्कोप, प्रोटोटाइप, रिक्वेस्ट स्कोप, सेशन स्कोप एंड ग्लोबल स्कोप। तो सिंगलटन स्कोप जो होते हैं वो डिफॉल्ट स्कोप होते हैं स्प्रिंग बीन के। सो द इंटरव्यूअर इज आस्किंग कैन वी यूज singleton scope bean inside a multi-threading environment? Is it the thread safe? Then you have to answer. I'll tell that, या फिर आप खुद समझ गए होंगे by this answer of this question. Again, interviewer can ask one counter question related to this question is, so which one is better to use, synchronized method or synchronized block? So I can show you by an example. So we can go for the example now. So in my last video I have taken an example of the singleton test. This is the simple singleton class जहाँ पे मैंने कोई synchronization का use नहीं किया है. Then to make singleton class using a multi-threading environment, either you can use the synchronized method or you can use the synchronized block. Okay, so first of all we'll see the example of how to use the synchronized method. And if you are going to use the synchronized method, it means that you are making log in entire method. Actually I want to make thread safe only this block of code. Why I only want to make the thread safe only this block of code? Because here I have written the logic to create the object. That is my main logic. So अगर मैं इस code of block को thread safe नहीं बनाऊंगा, then if the multiple thread will call this get singleton instance method, so for every thread this if condition will become true and they will get the new instances. That's why I want to lock this line of code here. Okay, so if I'm locking entire method, then what is demerit of this? So every threads has to wait for calling this method, and if a thread is already accessed this method, then until or unless he will come out from this entire method, the other thread cannot access this. So this is the time taking, this is performance issue. Whereas in the second one, when I am making the thread save for only those line of code where exactly I want to make thread save. So यहाँ पे every thread will not wait for calling this method. Every thread can call this method at a time. It's not a problem, but he will wait to complete this line of code. So once this line of code will execute for the first thread, this st will be initialized with the object and it will be assigned in the st. So when the second thread that is already access this method, when he will get that chance to execute this line of code, when he will check that condition st equal to null, he will get the false because already st initialized by the one of the thread. It means that it will directly get the value that is already created, the same instance he will get. So in this case we can achieve the efficiency and performance will be also high, and you can use the singleton in a multi-threading environment with synchronized block. This is the better choice, and you can tell this same example to the interviewer, then he will get to know, okay, we have a good understanding about that singleton and multi-threading also. Okay, come to the next question. So our next question is, which one is better to use, synchronized method or synchronized block? That we have already seen it. The next question is, what is polymorphism in Java? Yes, because this is a very important question also. I have also faced this question in some of the interviews. So what is polymorphism in Java? रियल वर्ल्ड में पोलीमॉर्फिज्म क्या होता है? तो अगर किसी पर्सन का एग्जांपल ले ले, द बेटर एग्जांपल ऑफ पोलीमॉर्फिज्म इन रियल लाइफ इज अ पर्सन. वन पर्सन कैन डू द मल्टीपल वर्क विद द डिफरेंट डिफरेंट इनपुट्स. अगर आप किसी पर्सन को खाने के लिए बोलो वो खाएगा, चलने के लिए बोलो चलेगा, गाने के लिए बोलो गाएगा. So a single person are doing the different different operation in different different way. So same way polymorphism in Java, like suppose I have to perform a addition operation, then I can take the add method of different different number of parameters. Okay, so add of 2 parameter, add of 3 parameter, add of 4 parameter. So all the add method here is doing the same work. They are adding the all variables but with the different different parameters. Okay, so polymorphism in Java are two types. First is compile time polymorphism. It is also called static binding. Compile time, as name suggests, that which method is going to be executed, इसका डिसीजन कौन करेगा? कंपाइलर करेगा. कौन सा मेथड एग्जीक्यूट होगा इसका डिसीजन कंपाइलर करेगा at the compilation time. Okay, for example, method overloading क्या होता है? So inside a class we can take the same name for the multiple method, but it can have the different different parameters or different types of parameter. I can show you an example. So here I am taking a printer class. So this class having the two method. This method name is same as I told it, but having the different number of parameter. One is taking the string parameter and second is taking string and int parameter. Okay, so when you compile this program, so compiler will take this object and go to the print method of single parameter. So at the time of compilation, compiler will go and check where is this method. Okay, this is the method, and the compiler found this method is matching with this input parameter. Okay, so compiler binded this method to execute. So the compiler decided this method should be executed. When you are going to execute this program, then JVM will execute exactly the same method that is binded by the compiler at the compilation time. So this is the example of method overloading, and this is called the static binding or compile time polymorphism. Compiler is going to decide which method is going to be executed. Okay, next is runtime polymorphism or dynamic binding. सो रन टाइम पोलिमॉर्फिज्म में यहाँ पे JVM इज गोइंग टू डिसाइड कि कौन सा मेथड एग्जीक्यूट होना है एट द रन टाइम. सो कंपाइल टाइम में कंपाइलर का डिसीजन होता है, रन टाइम में JVM का डिसीजन होता है. टू अचीव द रन टाइम पोलिमॉर्फिज्म we can go by the method overriding. What is method overriding? तो method overriding में क्या होता है? तो two methods which having the same signature but they are defined in two different classes, that is superclass and subclass. For an example, so now this is my example where ABC is a class and XYZ is a class. XYZ is extending to ABC, means it is a child class, and ABC is a superclass. Okay, both having the same signature of method, that is public void my method, public void my method. So which method will going to execute, that is going to decide by the JVM at the runtime. Okay, so now I'm creating the object of XYZ. So यहाँ पे मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ कि ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ किसका, चाइल्ड क्लास का XYZ का, और उसको स्टोर कहाँ पे कर रहा हूँ, तो सुपर टाइप के रेफरेंस वेरिएबल में. तो यहाँ पे एक ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट होगा. ओके, यहाँ पे एक ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट हुआ है, इसका एड्रेस सपोज कि 101 है. सो व्हेन यू आर गोइंग टू कंपाइल दिस प्रोग्राम एट द कंपाइलेशन टाइम, कंपाइलर को मतलब नहीं है राइट साइड से. He is not going to look inside the right side that what type of object is going to created, rather than he will see the what type of reference variable you have taken here. This reference variable I am talking about, this reference variable is a type of ABC. Then at the compilation time, the compiler will go first time directly in the ABC class. Okay, तो ये गया ABC क्लास में चेक करने के लिए कि माई मेथड प्रेजेंट है कि नहीं है. मेरा पेंटिंग बहुत खराब है, इग्नोर इट. तो वो चेक करेगा माई मेथड इज प्रेजेंट इन द एबीसी और नॉट. यस इट इज प्रेजेंट. ओके, कंपाइलर ने इस मेथड को बाइंड किया एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए. एट द रन टाइम व्हेन यू आर गोइंग टू एग्जीक्यूट दिस प्रोग्राम, देन जेवीएम कम्स इनटू द पिक्चर. ही विल कम एंड चेक कि ऑब्जेक्ट किसका है. ओके, एक्स वाई जेड का. एक्स वाई जेड का एड्रेस क्या है, तो एक्स वाई जेड का एड्रेस क्या है, 1010. 1010 डॉट माई मेथड है. ओके, तो इस कहाँ पे जाएगा, इसके पास आएगा, चाइल्ड क्लास के पास. तो चाइल्ड क्लास के पास माई मेथड है, एग्जैक्टली है. ओके, देन he will execute this method rather than going to in the super class. This is called dynamic binding. This is called runtime polymorphism. You got it right? Now next question, in many of the interview you will get this question and you should know about this answer. So serialization क्या होता है, is the process of converting the object into a byte stream to share this object over the internet. Okay, then why we need a serialization? Because suppose if you want to send your object to another application, then you cannot send directly over the internet. For that we have to convert into the byte stream, then only byte stream can be travel over the internet. Okay, so how can you do it, how can you achieve serialization? To achieve serialization we have to use serializable interface. Okay, let's see. First of all we have to convert our object into the byte stream, so this is called serialization. Second thing, to achieve the serialization we have to use the serializable interface. Then what is serializable, I'm going to tell about the serializable, just wait for the 1 minute. Serializable you can get into the java.io package. Okay, so now our next question is, if suppose I don't want to make a variable to be part of serialization, how can we do it? The interviewer can ask the counter question like that. Okay, in a class suppose you have defined fields like id, name, your address, password. Okay, but you don't want to share your password to the application, to the another application, means you don't want to make this password to be part of serialization. Then then you can use the transient keyword. So to make any variable not be part of the serialization, we can use transient variable with that field. Okay, or he can also ask this question that what is transient keyword in Java. I have already told. So what is the transient keyword in Java? So exactly it is a keyword in Java. So when you use the transient keyword with any variable or field, it means that we are indicating or we are informing the JVM that these fields or this variable is not going to be part of serialization. Then how can you define it? Like example is private transient string password. It means that password is not going to part of serialization. Okay. Now, come to the next question. What do you mean by marker interface? In some of the interview, you will get this question. This question is also important. We should know about that. What do you mean by marker interface? तो इसका आंसर मैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में डिटेल्स के साथ दूंगा. अदरवाइज अगर इस वीडियो में बताऊंगा तो ये वीडियो लंबे होते जा रहा है. सो आज की इस वीडियो के लिए इतना ही. मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में. थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग माई वीडियोज एंड डोंट फॉरगेट टू like and subscribe to my channel.